Everyone keeps asking the same question lately. Why aren't altcoins moving? Bitcoin hit new highs, the market feels alive, but everything else stays still. No matter how strong the headlines are, the charts look frozen. It feels like the whole altcoin market just stopped breathing. Some say it's manipulation, others say it's fear. But the truth is much simpler and much colder. It's liquidity, or rather the lack of it. Because in every market, money isn't evenly spread. It's concentrated, like light through a magnifying glass. And right now, that light is focused entirely on Bitcoin. That's why it feels like the rest of the market is invisible. Because it is. Let's rewind a bit. When liquidity floods in, it doesn't go everywhere at once. It starts at the top. Institutional investors, ETFs, big funds, they all move first. They buy the safest thing, the most liquid thing, the thing they can sell tomorrow if the world collapses. And in crypto, that's Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the deep end of the pool. Altcoins are the shallow edge. When the tide comes in, it fills the deep end first. Only when that's full does the water reach the rest. So when Bitcoin rallies and altcoins don't, that's not a glitch. It's the natural order of liquidity. The problem is, this time, the tide itself is weaker. In past cycles, money was cheap, rates were zero, risk was free. So liquidity flooded in, poured down the pyramid, and lifted everything. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and every meme coin with a logo. But 2025 isn't 2021. Money has rules again. Rates are high. Liquidity is scarce. And most of what's flowing into crypto right now is not new money. It's recycled. Capital is rotating, not expanding. That's the key difference. You can't have an alt season without expansion. Because alt seasons are overflow events. They happen when there's so much excess liquidity in the system that it starts spilling into smaller assets. When people run out of safe bets, they start reaching for next bets. That's what creates the explosive alt rallies. But right now, nobody's reaching. They're holding. Everyone's cautious. ETFs have changed the game. Money that would have gone into altcoins before now sits comfortably inside Bitcoin ETFs. It's institutional, passive, patient. That's good for long-term credibility, but bad for short-term excitement. Altcoins feed on chaos. They need retail energy, emotion, greed, and those are sleeping right now. Because retail doesn't chase boring markets. They chase headlines. They chase movement. When Bitcoin consolidates and everything else stays flat, attention dies. And in markets, attention is liquidity. So, no, it's not that altcoins are being suppressed or manipulated. It's that the room's oxygen has been rerouted. But let's go even deeper. There's another invisible force at play. Supply unlocks. Thousands of altcoins from the last cycle are still unlocking tokens. Vesting schedules, team allocations, investor tranches, all dripping new supply into thin liquidity. That puts pressure on prices, even when there's no selling panic. It's slow erosion. Every week, new supply meets no demand, and markets sink quietly. At the same time, large holders, the whales, are smarter now. They're not dumping on rallies. They're hedging quietly, rotating capital into majors, waiting for confirmation before re-entering. They've seen this movie before. They know alt seasons don't start when prices are low. They start when confidence is high. And confidence is built on one thing, momentum. But right now, there's no momentum. Even good news barely moves charts. That's not manipulation. It's a frozen feedback loop. The way it works is simple. Low liquidity means small moves. Small moves mean less excitement. Less excitement means fewer buyers. Fewer buyers mean even lower liquidity. It's a loop. And the only thing that breaks it is new capital or new narrative. Let's talk about that second part, narrative. Because liquidity moves with storylines. Not logic, not charts, stories. The last alt season wasn't just about technology, it was about identity. DeFi revolution, NFT culture, play to earn. Those were stories that made people feel like they were early to something bigger. That emotion created participation. Participation created liquidity, and liquidity created price action. Right now, there is no such story. AI tokens tried to fill that gap, but it's still niche. RWA is rising, but it's too institutional for retail to understand. Meme coins are still active, but they're isolated bubbles, not unifying narratives. Until a new story captures mass attention, liquidity will stay trapped in the majors. So, if you're waiting for altcoins to move, don't watch charts. Watch narratives. Watch how media talks. Watch where the memes go. Because price follows belief, and belief follows story. But maybe the biggest factor of all is something people rarely mention. Liquidity cycles don't just affect assets, they affect behavior. When liquidity is scarce, investors think short-term. When it's abundant, they dream long-term. That's why in bull markets, everyone suddenly becomes a visionary. And in tight markets, everyone becomes a risk manager. We're in a risk management phase. That's why altcoins feel dead, because people stopped dreaming. But here's the thing, that never lasts. Every cycle ends the same way. Liquidity slowly rebuilds, confidence returns, narratives spark, and suddenly everything moves again. It always feels impossible right before it happens. And then when it does, everyone says, "We should have seen it coming." You can already see small signs. Stablecoin supply is stabilizing after months of contraction. ETH-BTC ratio has stopped falling. New projects are raising quietly in private rounds. These are early hints, not confirmation, but signals. It's the same pattern every cycle. Bitcoin breathes first, Ethereum follows. Then the liquidity trickles down, and when retail returns, not for survival, but for opportunity, that's when altcoins wake up. Until then, most of the market will stay frozen. Not because it's broken, but because it's recharging. Think of the market like a heart. When it contracts, it's not dying. It's building pressure for the next beat. That's where we are right now. The pause before the pulse. If you zoom out, every crypto cycle has this quiet middle, the part everyone hates but every rally needs. It's where weak hands give up, narratives reset, and capital redistributes. And those who stay patient here are the ones who catch the first wave when it starts again. Because alt seasons don't announce themselves. They sneak in quietly, through small caps with sudden volume, through whispers of a new trend, through the one token that breaks the pattern first. It won't be obvious. It never is. That's why most people miss it. So, no, it's not manipulation. It's rotation. It's recalibration. It's liquidity taking a breath before it runs again. If you want to understand when altcoins will move, stop asking when. Start asking why. Because the answer isn't in time, it's in flow. When liquidity expands, when narratives align, and when fear turns into curiosity again, that's when the magic happens. Until then, stay calm. The silence doesn't mean the system is dead. It means it's loading. Markets are like storms. They build energy in stillness. And when they move again, they don't walk, they run.